now welcome Professor John Butler, which should be, I think, online. Let me, first of all, thank you very much, John, to being with us today during this event. And I just briefly present Professor John Butler, who is an artist and the Chief Executive Officer of EQ Arts, which is a leading independent international quality assurance and enhancement agency for European higher arts education. He's an emeritus professor of art at Birmingham School of Art in Birmingham City University, where he was head of school from 2003 to 2015. And Professor Butler was president of the European League of Institutes of Arts, ELIA, from 2000 to 2004. And as president, he initiated a thematic network for arts, responsible for developing the rollout of the Bologna Declaration for the Arts for the European Commission. And this task, this thing that he initiated, led to the establishment of EQ Arts. John Butler was responsible for founding two contemporary art galleries, SpaceX in 1978 in Exeter and East Side Project in 2008 in Birmingham, and has curated numerous national and international exhibitions. He was awarded a Doctor Honoris Causa by University of Art and Design, Cluj-Napoca in Romania in 2004, and the University of Plymouth in 2007. And John, thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you, Pierluigi, for a really exciting kind of presentation. I mean, it's sad that as you introduced me, I'm an artist, painter, and I was former head of Birmingham School. Now I'm CEO of EQ Arts. And mine's a text presentation, so it's a rather sad way. I apologize. I should have been there with you in person, but I've had a medical condition now that my doctor told me not to travel at the moment. So I wish I was with you, and I'm sorry I'm not. About EQ Arts. EQ Arts is one of only two subject-specific, it's international quality assurance agency in the European higher education area. It is independent. It solely relies on working with that institution, so there is no state funding. We're based in the Netherlands, but our activities are not limited to any one national context. Our standards are mapped to the European Standards and Guidelines from 2015, and the enhancement of students' experience is central to our ethos, so that we base all our work on that. EQA registered, the European Registry for National Agencies and Independent Agencies is the EQA Register, and we've been on that, and we are able to undertake accreditation for bachelor, masters, and doctoral cycles. But we are, I mean, research is not, we do not assess research, but we assess how research is supported within the institution. We're invited to participate in European educational projects, benchmarking activities, policy making development, and thematic analysis and survey reports. And we produced a few. Can you see next slide, please?
Here it is.
We were invited to be part of this project because of our invention when we were involved with the project EU for Arts project. And basically, we kind of had a look at the kind of internal quality of this project, but also in terms of developing care and the work that the Accademia di Belle Arti in Roma is developing. We're trying to help them establish the kind of internal quality assurance process. And we strongly believe that the internal quality assurance is responsibility of the institution. We don't impose things because Each institution is governed by its own national ministries and the laws and administration that runs. So we don't interfere. But what we want to understand from the institution is how the mission of the institution embraces research, what the institution's policies and strategies are in place for developing or maintaining a research culture, and I'll go into that in a bit. How research is embedded incrementally in all three cycles, how research informs the curricula at bachelor and master's level, and how research is introduced to and developed in students. The infrastructure and resources and finance supported for research activities, and I think very crucially, what time is allocated, i.e. in staff contracts, and training offered in supervision, research methods, research funding for academic staff. It's important the institution embraces those to actually facilitate and support the research that goes on. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. We think it's really critical, the response to the institution level, to develop a research culture. I mean, a research culture has to exist, otherwise it's very difficult to see how students will be engaged, teachers will engage, and you will find partners to be part of it. And what we think is necessary is that the institution develops qualitative and quantitative metrics, including impact, which impacts on the curriculum for all three cycles. It's beneficial to society and the professional world. Yet you're invited to participate in international conferences, on international editorial boards, on disciplinary research societies, councils, revenue, public and non-public sources, knowledge transfer, contracts and spin-offs. The type of research that the university engages on has to be clear, whether it's applied, collaborative, links with industry and the professional world, is contract, knowledge and technological transfer. Research outputs. Because this is the arts, I mean, there should be more than publications. And it should include how you look at performances, exhibitions, papers, presentations, conferences, symposia, journals, press, awards, research student outputs, etc. And a kind of another dimension that is quite something that higher arts education is having to kind of consider is how this material is archived. Because we're not talking about just printed publications, so the institution must find a way to make the output of their research, and that means the practice as well as the literature, is available to the students and to the teachers and to the public world. The next slide, please. What we think is would enhance the quality of the arts, and these are characteristics which we think should guide artists' research. I won't just read them out, but there are things like critical reflection, promotes critical dialogue, contributes to innovation and further development artistic practices, requires new insights and expands the collective body of knowledge. Research to make process and foundations as clear and explicit as possible. It uses existing and develops new forms of cognition. It exploits, and this is where it kind of fits into this project specifically, it creates and exploits transdisciplinary connections. And I think it's interesting when Pierluigi was talking about the different types of disciplinary, trans, cross, inter. I think trans is the kind of most complete to kind of describe the project that you're engaged in, because I think it is about a holistic process. And I think it's really important that the institutions and the other partners kind of form a kind of holistic way of looking at the quality of what they're doing, and that it's a non-hierarchical and that all parties are actually engaged in it. the method, context, and process and results are communicated and submitted to regular peer review. All our work is about peer review. You have to kind of be able to evidence how you would engage with peers and use them in kind of external peers and experts in the kind of evaluation of your work. We think that the work should be documented and published in an appropriate manner, addressing the research community, the artistic community, and the wider public. And you have to kind of find ways that you can do it in your own terms. And I think that it's interesting, when I was at Birmingham, we had 2 galleries that we built. We had a peer-refereed journal, and we actually had published a lot of material. So I think the institutions work together to make this kind of system work. We've been involved in a lot of research-related European projects, specifically around areas of research and through doctoral level. CalOX it's an ongoing project, and currently we've just finishing it, that we've been invited by the Commission to look at the learning outcomes and assessment criteria for all 3 cycles for learning, teaching and assessment. So that will have a major impact on all higher arts education. Creator Doctors, which was a joint international program developing guidelines for setting up artistic research doctoral programs. Film EU, which is another European university program that we are part of, that is looking at how to develop innovation research in film and media arts. And we've formulated a framework for that. ENCO working group has just been established, which is pulling the state of art on the assessment of research-based learning institutions, research policy and quality assurance of research processes. I'm a member of that working group, and we literally just started last month. And ENCO is one of the 4 groups that actually informed the meeting of ministers for the Bologna group in terms of the new developments in higher arts and higher education. And last but not least is the EU for Arts project, which is the one that you're engaged in, and we are part of that and support that. And we hopefully will go on to develop and work with you on the CARE project, which we are. So it's a really kind of key thing. Next slide, please. We also in kind of been invited by ministries to actually review the outputs of research in higher arts education. And last year we did the Czech Republic, but we've done it in other countries. So we're not, our remit is not to assess research outputs, but to assess the process of how your institutions support research. And that includes from every aspect. But we do, as an organisation, or I chaired that review, get asked to assess the research outputs, but always in the context of the national programs. I've just been working earlier on with Enver on developing the kind of quality level for higher arts education, and I think we hope that we'll have a continued collaboration with them, and that will have an impact on this development of your projects. We also were very key, an element in the whole writing of the Vienna Declaration, which was the network of arts, European arts networks. So Cumulus for design, music for AC for music, Select for film, etc., and Elia. These, I was part of the editorial group, and we wrote the declaration that support artistic research as an area. I think it's interesting the terminology and the language that Pierluigi was using, and I think everything about where we're going it's really important that we actually consider the terminology we use. And it's interesting. I think Pierluigi talked a lot about the arts within the context of the humanities. I think we refute it in Vienna, but it's the kind of thing that the arts, for artistic research, it doesn't form and work according to the humanities per se, and I think it has to be seen as discrete group. And because I think our research methodology is different, our research practices are different, and therefore it has to have that identity. And I think that led to us doing a follow-up proposal for the Frascati manual, which is the major document that a lot of countries use in terms of how they're evaluating research, and that we're asking them to create a new discrete group for the arts in research. And I think, therefore, we've got to be very clear about terminology, the way we do it, and the need for retort. Because, as Pierluigi also said, that the research is the biggest, highest growth area in Europe. There's more money in there than nearly everything put together. And I think that if higher arts education can't access it, then it is a really sad state. And in many countries, and it's partly the same, there's a binary divide between the traditional universities and higher arts education, which is often seen in the technical university sector. And I think that also has reduced its accessibility to funding. We have to change all that, and it starts at policy, but right through. But I think what we tried to do in this presentation was kind of try and help guide Academia delle Arti and Roma and partners to formulate a kind of quality process for the whole project that works together. It's not being a discrete groups, it has to be worked together so that people don't have to go, or the programs don't have to go through review from different bodies, different agencies. And I think it's also important that you retain a kind of a non-hierarchical way of working. That each subject is important; it has the same value as the others. I think it is a fantastic, exciting project. It is quite unique. I mean, there is not many, in my experience, and we've been through a lot of reviews in a lot of countries, where arts institutions are entering to this level of collaboration with another university and looking to develop such a program. And I think that's to be commended and supported, and I'll do everything I can do if requested to carry on. But I think it is a really important development, and I think that in Italy you still have to go through a whole lot of development in terms of the QA process. And I think that from my experience talking with Aldo, they are interested and would like to get involved and do this. But I think we need to kind of help them and support them. But you need to build this infrastructure within the institution to actually develop it and move forward. Thank you.